All right, everyone, good evening. Thank you very much for having us here today. Thanks for the Womena team for inviting us all the way from New York City to be here and tell you about QallOut, the first online community for live video debates. Before we get started to talk about our product, let's take you back 2 years ago. As you probably remember, a very savage and brutal war had taken place. That was the first inspiration moment for QallOut. The war in Gaza. Myself, a Jordanian who's been brought up and raised in the Middle East for 30 years, was angry and infuriated every day, sharing articles and videos on Facebook. And that's when I realized my first observation about the broken social media model, which is that Facebook, Twitter, and every other social media out there creates what we call echo chambers. Surrounds you with friends that think like you, agree with you. So what you end up doing is just recycling more and more of the content that you like and agree with. Doesn't really call for a debate, you don't understand the perspectives of the opposing side, and nobody really ends up having a productive discussion. On the other hand, if you end up finding yourself debating with somebody on a YouTube comment section or on Reddit, it's always a flame war. And this is largely because of the text comments that people can hide behind, swearing at each other and yelling at each other. So whether you're having a debate on Facebook, or if you want to call it a debate, or on YouTube or Reddit, that's not a way to have a productive discussion. And that was the first observation. The second observation is that people love to debate. They love to voice out their opinions. They love to have a sounding board and validate what they think is true. And people love to watch people debate because debates are exciting, they're passionate, and people love to learn about news and trending information through the power of debate. In fact, one of the studies by Ipsos talks about the different types of content on social media. Photos, as we all know, is the number one, but opinions are the second highest type of social media content being shared nowadays. And this follows the same psychological intrinsic needs that people have, gratification and self-promotion and getting likes and shares. So this is exactly about why people like to debate and why people like to watch people debate. The third observation we had is that debates in text are a disaster. If you go to a Reddit thread, it's impossible to understand where the debate begins or ends. The text comments are all buried under each other. And the reality is, video is where the world is heading. 80% of the internet traffic in a couple of years will come from video. And that's actually much more true for live video, which is now spearheading technologies and everybody's going all after live video. And so we thought about creating a place that has a value proposition that does three things. Allow you to matchmake with a suitable opponent, somebody civilized that you can debate with comfortably, screen that person before you actually get in a debate with them. And after you found your opponent, you can have the debating experience through a product that was custom built from the ground up for a very lively and interactive debating experience. Broadcast through live video, where people can vote and comment and submit video comments in real time. And the third step is the gratification element, the self-promotion, the ability to share your content, get points, leaderboard, and badges, which is what a lot of people nowadays usually seek by being active on every social media. So with that, I'd like to show you a video, a 2-minute video that tells you how our product works and some highlights of our last debates.
That is a ridiculous fucking argument.
Why is it so much more important that 8% of the accusations make men look bad rather than the fact that 97% of rapists get away with it?
The people who are supporting Bernie Sanders and are watching what he does, they should be the ones who keep his feet most to the fire.
There wasn't any real social activism against bullying like there is now, which has also been sort of spearheaded by a lot of popular YouTubers and YouTube in general.
If you are open to truth and just look honestly at the New Testament accounts, there's no good reason to deny or reject or ignore them.
So your argument isn't unique to voluntarism.
I don't lack credibility because I'm citing sources. And if you don't like that source, then I'd like to see you refute it instead of just saying you don't like it.
Very quickly, the way we plan to grow the site is by building long-lasting relationships with online influencers and YouTubers who, as you can see, are sharing their debates on QallOut on their own social media. We're also experimenting with debate tournaments. It's an activity that's a globally popular Since 1947, debate tournaments have been happening all around the world, and we are the first to bring this popular activity to the online world and allow it to be accessible to anybody that has a laptop and a webcam, not just debate students in universities. Not yet. Last April and May, we raised our first pre-seed round, $400,000 from prominent angel investors in the Middle East, includes Rabia Ataya, which many of you might know is the founder and CEO of Bait.com. And we're now looking to raise our seed round with $1.3 million. Now, because we're using a convertible note, we don't need to raise the full amount in order to accept a ticket, which is as low as $100,000. And we can talk about that and the structure of the investment in the Q&A session. The rock stars behind the team, myself and Georgia, my co-founder, we met in Oliver Wyman as management consultants. We worked on multiple consulting engagements together. I bring media, startup, and strategy experience. Georgia has an MBA from INSEAD and has been traveling around the world and lived in 4 different continents in the past 10 years. Our tech team includes Thanasis and Yanis, who are considered to be rock stars in the Node.js open source community, and Chelsea is our community manager in New York City. Before we go to the Q&A session, Jon Stewart, as you probably all know him, has said on his last episode that the best defense against bullshit is vigilance, and we believe in that. Logical fallacies are worse than fake news, and the best way to stop them is through critical thinking and logical reasoning. And before we go to Q&A, President Obama on his last day has asked people if they're tired of arguing with each other on the internet to talk to each other in real life. And we believe QallOut is as close as people can get to a real life experience in the online world. So thank you very much, and with that, I'll hand over